Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining another Lead Squared webinar. We were on a break for a couple of weeks, but we're back now and we're back with more on automation. I know that some of you who've joined the session today are not Lead Squared customers and some of you are. So we welcome both groups today. And of course, you'll come to know a lot about what Lead Squared Automations has to offer. Those of you who are Lead Squared customers, you will of course come to know how you can use the automations feature in a better way. Right, so what all are we going to talk about today? So apart from the main crux of it all, which is sell more with automation, we're going to be looking at automations very briefly, what all it can offer, the benefits that come with it, and the different types of automations available to you. We will share a few industry specific use cases and of course the latest automation updates. So to take us through that is Neha Chaudhary, Lead Squared customers. You probably know her already. If you've especially joined an automation webinar in the past, you know who she is. She is an expert in automations and she's here to take you through it. Neha, over to you.
Hi guys, good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar. Thanks for joining us. It feels good to be back. We're doing an Automation 101 session. Again, I think Shibani has already introduced me. For those of you who don't know who I am, hi, my name is Sneha. You can find me on LinkedIn if you're interested. I will be walking you through everything in automation, so it's going to be a little bit of an overwhelming session, but feel free to raise all kinds of doubts. I'm here. I have my friend Arnika here to assist me with it. She's been working on automations for a long time and knows the ins and outs of it. If not as good as, even better than I do. So we'll be glad to help. Not only that, but I'll be showcasing quite a few things regarding what we have in automations and how it can help you. And some industry specific use cases, particularly to education, loan insurances, and health, hospitality, and travel. So I'll cover all of that, and not forgetting, of course, what we have new in our automations for those of you who've been following. So I'll quickly give you a walkthrough of automations to start off with, let you know how this can benefit your business for those of you who are not already aware. I'll show you some of the use cases that we've implemented in some of our customers, as well as how we do, suggest our customers to use it. And lastly, I'll just show you what's new. Okay, so here's a few reasons why you should be using automations. Firstly, when we first got our automations, we noticed that a lot of people started using mail merge parameters, or rather personalization, which helped drive their business a lot, right? Because when you personalize your emails, it makes a huge amount of difference when somebody feels like they're actually being reached out to, as opposed to when it's something generic. Because then you know that, yeah, it's just going to everybody, why should I respond to this? Why is this special? Why is this email different? So people question less, basically. And automation lets you do that. You can personalize all of your emails, all of your tasks, your activities, your lead fields, a bunch of stuff. It also gives you a single view of your customer. So by a single view of your customer, I mean you can see how they've been engaging with your business and how they've been flowing through it. Every communication that you carry out with your lead is actually captured in the leads detail page. We also show you in which automation this lead has been a part of, and you can track back to see where the lead has dropped off so that you can know what works better for this lead. And similarly, you can inform your sales users of this so that they can, actually take charge, follow up with them, call them up, and so on and so forth. Not only that, but it helps you automate your lead qualification and assignment. So thereby making sure that all of your sales users and managers are not doing redundant manual work every day. So everything that has to be automated is, and we make sure that we can do that for you, right? With our creating tasks through the automation, posting activities through the automation, carrying out entire processes based on what kind of an activity is posted, following up with your sales users, carrying out escalation matrix, and so on. There are a bunch of things which I'll get through. So some of our users actually have reported, I have some stats in front of you. I hope you can see that. So 78% of people have said that using automations has actually helped contribute to their revenue, since they're actually doing more work, which counts. A lot of automation users have actually said that increases their sales quota achievement rate, right? Because while salespeople are actually making phone calls and getting in touch with customers, as soon as they're done with an activity, I mean, a phone call activity maybe, you can send them an email or you can just post the activity and the automation would do that for you, right? So you don't have to manually type that out. It's already a template which is set and it just goes. Another thing is automation users have said that they've noticed a 53% higher conversion rate from leads to actual qualifying stages like customers. So you can even carry out automations based on sales activities. Not only that, with the addition of features like laps in automations, you can carry out how you want to prioritize your leads better, right? Based on some custom logic you might have. I'll also show you that and I'll show you a little bit about it in Labs itself and what else Labs can help you do through the automation. So coming to it, we have mainly 5 types of automations that we tell all of our customers about, and everyone is interested in either one of these, if not all of them, right? Or a combination of two of them. And at some point or the other in your business, you have to sell at least to someone in one of these verticals, right? And we've categorized them into automations and we've provided different templates in our automation feature or how these can help you basically to acquire leads. So before a lead gets converted to a customer, they can be in multiple stages, right? A prospect, they can be an opportunity. So how do you convert them from one stage to the next is how the lead square acquisition automations help you. Then how do you nurture them while they're in a particular stage? So with continuous emails, now obviously not one at a time, but one after the other after a wait period of say 2 days or a week, or if in case you carry out or send materials to your leads, you can probably use the automations to send out material every week or bi-weekly based on how frequently you like to be engaged with them. And you can see if they're actually opening this through the reports. You can see how many have been opened, how many have been clicked, and which leads are these. So based on that, you can actually carry out further engagement actions. Another thing is the prospect opportunity. Again, something that I've already covered with the lead acquisition. It's basically a particular stage to stage change of how your lead flows through from one stage to the next. And there are different things important in every stage, which is why we try to focus on each automation, focus on one stage, convert them to another automation, convert them to another stage, and you can directly send them to another automation itself. So we let you do that with sub automations. There are retention automations. So now that a lead's actually become a customer, you need to make sure that you retain them, right? So you need to keep sending them engaging things like ebooks. You can send them links. You can send them, if they're a part of a list in your application, you can obviously share say content with all of these members on the list as long as they've asked for it. We do not support spamming, so I hope you understand that. But we help you or assist you do it better and do it more personalized, right? So you can find different retainment automations in our automation feature. And of course, upsell and cross-sell. So if somebody has actually bought a product, so if somebody is, say, in the travel industry, if somebody has bought a ticket to Goa, you know that they've been interested in a beach place before. So you can obviously store this information in their lead details page, use it in another automation to probably sell them another deal somewhere, say in Bali, go more, go outside India, or show them ads relevant to it. Not only that, but you can also send out dynamic content based on if it's a male or a female or what their age group is, using our dynamic responses in emails itself. With our latest feature, actually, I'll show you how you can split test these emails and see which one's actually working better. So that's covering the different types of automations there are. So this is an overview or a basic flow of how automations looks, right? For those of you already familiar with this, you might have already seen this on our leadsquare.com website. For those of you who are not, welcome to a basic flow of automations. So this basically helps you engage, nurture leads, and push them down the sales funnel faster. So every time the lead exists in your system, it first has to be created, right? So where does a lead start its process in your system? It starts at the trigger level. So triggers are what start your automation. Once a lead has triggered the automation, you can send them an email. Then you wait for one day to see if they've actually, engaged with the email or not. If they have you can send them another email, or you can probably, update the stage saying they've actually opened this and they're interested. So I want to change this lead stage to warm. Similarly, if they haven't opened them, you send them another email, which probably could or could not fall in their interest, and you can go on with the cycle like that. Right? So it's a very basic flow and a basic use case of automations, which all of us do manually, but automations helps you automate this. Another one to make sure that your sales teams are efficient. So over here, you see that you don't want to miss follow-ups, right? Because the faster you get in touch with your customers, the faster you can convert them, right? Because the first person to reach out to that lead converts them. Let's be honest, the first person who reached out to you for any sort of service is the person you give your attention to. So that's what we help you do. So as soon as an inquiry comes in, you can see what product they're interested in. If they're interested in product A, you'd probably see if it's a positive response or a negative response. If it's a positive response, you'll know exactly what kind of material to send them or what details to send them about the product. You can change their stage, you can notify a sales user, or you can probably create a follow-up task for the sales user saying, you want to get in touch with this person because they're ready and they're really interested in this. If they're not interested in it, you can probably just change the stage to not interested, keep them in the system, and then nurture them later in a future prospect list. And you can do the same with the product B. Okay. Another simple example of a workflow is when a lead is created. Again, I think I've already covered this one, so I'm going to move ahead. Okay, this is a little bit of an overwhelming slide. So these are all of the features that we have in the automation, and they're classified into three main types, as you can see: triggers, conditions, and actions. So each of these things will help you make your automations more powerful. Okay, not only more powerful, but they'll be more efficient because you'll be using specified or business-specific fields, business-specific activities to make them more meaningful, right? And these are just a range of things that will help you do this. So let me just show you an automation, take you to the product itself. For those of you already familiar with this page, welcome to the automations home list, right? So this is where you can actually see all of your automations. You can view reports for them. You can carry out actions on an automation, or you can just go ahead and create an automation like I'm going to do. If I'm going too fast, guys, do let me know if anyone has any questions or you'd like me to repeat anything. Again, raise your hand and Shabani will help you out. Before we start this, I'd just like to take a poll, Shibani, if that's possible.
Sure, Sneha. All right, guys, let's hear a little bit about you. Sneha can have a sip of water while we do that. So here goes the first poll, which will be available on your screen. All you have to do is pick the option most relevant to you. So here goes the poll. Are you using automations for your sales and marketing process? And we are aware that not all of you are Lead Squared customers. So even if you are using automations from another tool or product, that works just fine. Just tell us, are you using automations for your sales and marketing process? Yes or no. We'd appreciate if everyone who's joined the session, there are quite a few, if you could all vote and let us know, it would really help us. This is a very interesting poll result so far. It's 68% of the audience have voted today, and it's 50-50. 50% say yes and 50% say no. If there's an option that you thought should have been there but it isn't, put it on the chat and I will read that out. Manjunath, okay, he says no. All right. If there's anything else that you thought I could put there rather than yes or no, please share that as well. But yeah, I mean, it's over 70% of the audience have voted, and it's like 49% are saying yes now and 51% saying no. Right. So it's a mixed bag, but that's all right. Okay. Another 5 seconds, 10 seconds for the rest of the audience to vote. Just pick the option on the screen. Don't be lazy. There's not. You don't have to do much. Just take that mouse and say yes or no. It's 50-50 still. All right. I'm going to close this poll, and Sneha, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Shivani. That's pretty interesting. So there's 50% of our audience who's already used automation and 50% who haven't. So welcome aboard, guys, for those of you who haven't. Um, Again, like I said in the beginning of the session, this might be a little bit overwhelming since our automations is really powerful and it does a bunch of things. So I'm sure you may have some doubts and you may have some queries as to whether automations would be able to satisfy this for your business. So make sure you leave those in as questions, right? So that I can get to them later or Shubhani can ask them out. Maybe it'll benefit the entire audience. So it's something for everyone to learn. Okay. So, and existing customers, please feel free to raise your hands, talk to me, say hi at least. Okay, I hope you enjoy the session. So, I'll go on and get started with the automations itself. Those of you familiar with this page, this is where we ask you what kind of a template you want to start with, right? So I was telling you about different templates that we have that we've actually put up based on different things like if you're following up with prospects. So we created these based on how frequently people send these kind of processes or set up these kind of processes for their business, right? So we knew a lot of people had prospects in their business because I mean, all of us are prospects for some business or the other. So there were three ways to follow up with this. Either if there's an inquiry made on a website for a product or an ebook or a service, right? Then you can have this sort of an automation. So we've already created the automation for you. That's what a template is. And you basically just have to go on and really trigger it. So you have to choose how your automation is going to be triggered. And this is actually an activity. So this activity could possibly be something like, oh, they visited a particular web page and you'll have to just type in the web page. So I have only landing pages here, unfortunately. So I will just go on and use one and add. Right? So this is if they visited this particular web page, then you know that they're interested in whatever you have on that web page. So you'd want to send them an email. Now again, you can personalize this email right over here. You can categorize this if you've set up email categories. You can choose who the email is being sent by over here, and you can actually fill in your content. So notice everything that you see with an at before it is actually the mail merge parameter. What I mean by a mail merge is the way to personalize your emails. For those of you not already doing this, you should get on this right now, okay? Because this really helps out and this really helps make your emails feel one-to-one, rather than in bulk. So, I mean, all of us get these kind of emails right now, so might as well get with it, guys. So, the ways you can insert these mail merge fields are basically from the dropdown, you can choose a range of either lead fields that are already in your system, or you can choose a range of account fields. If you have an activity as a trigger, you can even choose activity fields, right? If you'll notice, so you can mail merge the activity name, or if it's a web page, what was the title of the web page that they visited, saying that, hey, you seem like you visited this page and you seem to be interested in this, especially for pricing pages. This is super helpful. A lot of people have seen returns come out from when people visit pricing pages and then they get an email, right? Because it knows that it's effective and people know that somebody is going to reach out to them if they've done this sort of an activity. So you can do all of this in your email. Okay, notice there's something that's disabled over here, which is the dynamic response bit. Dynamic responses are nothing but if you want to create webhooks or laps and you want to use the content that you're sending in a webhook into your email content directly, you can do that with the dynamic response. Okay, I'll take up more on that later. It's a little bit of a complex thing for this session. I mean, it's very simple otherwise. Okay, so once you've set up your email content, you possibly want to add a wait to actually see if they've engaged with the email or not, right? You can set up a wait for either couple minutes or a number of hours. See, depending on how engaging your business is and how digitally run it is, I would say, it makes a difference of hours and days or even weeks. Okay, if you're very particular about when you want to send this email exactly, then you can choose that you want it to be sent only on weekdays. So you can choose that, just unselect the weekends over here and see what time exactly this automation goes, right? So this is very helpful because you know that you want to send it only during working hours, and this is exactly what the wait condition lets you do. And it tells you also exactly when this will be carried out 2 days after, since you're waiting for 2 days on all the weekdays as per the account's time zone at 10 a.m. Okay, and you can go ahead and save this And then once you waited 2 days, you basically want to see if some sort of an activity has happened. Right? With this if else condition, the if else is actually a really powerful decision maker, I would say. Right? And how we like to use it is basically based on the activity that you've carried out over here. You can either set your properties and see if those properties have been met, or if you want to check whether an inbound activity has happened. Now, in my case, what I'm doing in my FLs is I'm checking if an inbound phone call has happened in the last 7 days. Okay. I can even go ahead and change this. Inbound phone call has happened. Inbound phone call activity. Okay, and I can even set the duration of this. Now, inbound phone call is an activity with the properties that are shown over here. Okay, so I can see the start time, the call duration, if there's a recording, or if the status, right? So if an inbound phone call has happened and if the status is, say, missed. So if I've missed it, I want to definitely get back to this person, right? So I'll say if status is missed. And of course, let's say, okay, we'll add one more. Add condition, trigger activity, inbound. Need activity is inbound phone call activity, and let's say okay, I think that's good enough for now. Okay, you can go ahead and see if the call duration makes sense to you. In a lot of sales or call center businesses, a call duration makes a big difference to see if a person, or tell if a person is interested rather. Okay, another thing, coming back to my fields, another thing I'm checking is if there was any activity posted which is a page has been visited in the last 7 days. So you can actually see which page was visited and specify that, or you can say if the inbound, if a lead has sent an email, right? So any sort of inbound activity is what I'm checking for. So I'm saying yes. Okay, set condition. I'm checking if any inbound activity has happened, and then I'm basically sending a mail if yes, with all their inquiry information that you've said this so and so, you've shown interest over here. So thanks for showing interest, and I'll get someone to reach out to you. If not, you want to probably notify your sales user itself and tell them, listen, this person hasn't done anything. Probably you like to follow up with them, right, on priority. So notice over here, lead is in blue. That's because I've created a link to this lead. So that's just like you can do that here. So if you have a lead and you want to specify which lead it is for your sales users to directly access them in the system, always make sure you create a lead link. This has always been really helpful, and this is something that I've told all of our customers that they should ensure they do, because it gives their sales users more reference. It saves them a lot of time, actually. Okay. Another thing I'd like to do is actually check if I want to carry out this activity only if they have opened my email after 2 days, right? So I waited 2 days. I want to check if add the cards below to the yes path. So it automatically takes reference. It automatically takes reference to the email that was right above it, if you notice, right? Now, if this has a link in it, it'll automatically take reference to the link as well. So notice and save. Okay, so what I'm doing over here is after I waited for 2 days, I want to see if this email has actually been opened by the person. Only if it's been opened, I want to see if they've carried out an inbound activity or not. If they haven't opened it itself, then I probably want to again just copy this card and I'll paste it over here. So I want to notify the person then itself saying that they haven't done anything. Okay. So that way we ensure a very end-to-end meeting of the salesperson and the lead, and ensure that we don't lose the speed, or at least we're trying as much as we can to make sure we get it. Okay, so that was one very basic, simple way to set up an automation. I did that fairly simply and fairly quickly with the use of the template. So we have a number of templates. Like I said, if you want to switch a template or use another one at any point of time, you can always do that by clicking on switch template like I did, and you can go through them. There are a range of templates that we offer based on which industry you're in. You can use different templates. Okay. One we definitely use for our own business. I'm sure you would have noticed the webinar and seminar emailed for existing leads. Thank you for being here today. So I'll just go on and show you how to build one from scratch. If that's something that you don't want to use a template and you're very specific about how exactly you want to go about setting this up, you've thought it through, you've written it down, drawn it on a board, this is the place you want to start. So you'd probably click on build from scratch, and the first thing you'll encounter is this dialog. So it asks you what type of an automation you want to create, either a lead automation or a user automation. In the lead automation, you have several triggers. So obviously, the first one is very self-explanatory. I think all of them are in that case, but I'll just quickly walk you through what they mean. So if it's a new lead, you'd want to trigger it whenever a new lead enters your system, no matter through which source they're entering. You can even specify, if you want to specify the source here, saying that only leads that are entering from organic searches should enter this activity. You can probably do that. So say lead source. Okay, and we'll say organic search. There you go. Add condition and set criteria. So automatically what this will do is it'll filter out all the new leads entering, make sure that they're only from the organic search part. Okay. So another one is you'll notice that we have a lead update. So that means whenever a lead field has changed, or whenever the lead has been updated in information, you can carry out this and trigger an automation. Whether a new activity is posted on the lead. New activities could be anything like, a form submission, a page visit, a phone call activity, a site visit, a demo has been scheduled. There are many. Right? Same way you can on when an activity is updated. So if any fields in the activity are being updated, you can go ahead and choose that activity, right? So in my case, I'll say when they have, if you're, say a portal online which gets users or students rather to register for internships, right? So you can have possibly have an activity called applied for internship, and a relevant field in this would obviously be which course, what course have they done, what degree do they have, what qualifications, what's their enrollment number, and so on and so forth, right? Have they already graduated from college or not? So whenever the I'll say the year of passing has been updated, then I want to trigger this automation. So you can even do that. Okay, makes it very specific, and also your nurturing gets better because you know exactly what kind of a category or league of leads you're reaching out to. Another few ones we have is whenever a lead is added to a list. So again, a very good example is that if you're working only on a set of leads which are in a particular region, right? Like you want to send out emails only to people from the US. So you'd obviously create a list. I hope you already know how to do that in Lead Squared. You'd create a list of just US leads who are in the region anywhere in the US. And then whenever the lead gets added to that list, basically, you would trigger the automation. Okay. Going on to the next one was on a specific date. So on a specific date is actually very helpful because it's more like an engagement thing. So a lot of our HRMS software users use this where they actually send out emails to their employees itself, right? And you can send them emails on their birthday or when they've completed a work anniversary. And it's very helpful that way because it just makes them feel like, oh, you care. That's so sweet. Okay. You don't only have to use it on that. You can also use it if you have a special sale. Now, suppose you're an e-commerce industry and you obviously have this big sale coming up and you want to inform people before it or on the day of the event, saying that go ahead, go now, and then send them an email with a discount coupon in it. It's something all of us get nowadays, right? So the automation can do that for you. So you probably just select special sale date over here. You can either schedule it on the day of the event, or let's say I want to send it like a day before the event at 10 o'clock. And if it's a birthday, you'd obviously repeat it annually because you want the email to go every year. Else you just want it to go on that one date. Okay, and save. And then you'd, carry out your email thread, so on and so forth thereafter. So notice how when I clicked on the plus, I was open to a menu, right? The menu is categorized into conditions and actions. Those of you who are already familiar with this, I'm sorry that I'm walking through this. We have quite a few new people here. So bear with me. And we also have some new conditions and actions. So I think it'll benefit the existing customers as well. So we have if else, like I said, it was the decision maker. The wait, which I've already told you about, a wait until activity, right? So a wait until activity is a very helpful condition, which lets you actually wait until a particular activity has happened, literally like what the title says. So you can either wait for one activity to happen to carry on with your process, or you can wait for multiple activities. So say I want to, whenever let's see if do I have something interesting here with me. Okay. So for those of you who've recently implemented the GDPR request, you notice a lot of activities like do not track, data protection, cookie consent. Right? Cookie consent is something that we've been encouraging everybody to make sure that they have. If you're running landing pages and web pages through LeadSquared, you want to make sure that you get a consent since we have cookies in all these web pages. You want to make sure that you get a consent from your users. If so, you can wait until they've given consent to actually send them further content or actually capture their lead information. Okay, you can also make this more effective by actually seeing if the activity happens within 1 hour. Right? For cookie consent, it doesn't really matter. But in general, if you're seeing if it's like a phone call activity or a site visit, wait until a particular activity can help you with the seeing how long it happens within. Okay. Um, the other things that are there in the menu, recently, and the most recent efficient is the split test. I'll come down to that. Coming to the actions, you'll notice that there's a recent section. So based on your usage of how frequently you're using which action, okay, under which category of the action, since we have so many, we come up with a small recent list of actions that we think will be really helpful to you. Okay, so you can just quickly access these and quickly place them in your automation, saving you a lot of time. So under messaging, you'll notice things like communication, right? Sending emails, sending SMS, opt-in emails. The opt-in email is again the one that I was talking to you about, whether you want to allow people to opt in for emails that you're sending them. So this is very important for those of you who haven't already done this, you're going to be fined. So I hope you have. Like coming to the lead actions bit. So lead actions are, like it says, every kind of action that you can carry out in a lead, like an activity. You want to post that the person has booked a demo, right? Or a student has booked a course schedule meeting with the counselor. Very helpful when you can do it directly through the automation. Then if a person you want to add the lead to the list, right? Like I said, if a new lead has come in based on which region they are, you can probably add them to the list. Same way, you can remove them from the list also if they're no longer a lead in your system who you're interested in targeting. You can star leads if that's a functionality that you use to mark leads is important. Tag leads, saying that, this is the source through which I got them through, or they've attended this webinar. So the name of the webinar, you can tag the lead, again, unstart and update the lead. Update the lead is one of the most frequent actions that some of our customers use, primarily because it's one of the easiest ways through which you can insert information into the lead details, right? Because if we find it very difficult to actually get sales users or our call center employees to fill in data about the lead, because they have so many calls to handle in a day, man, how are you going to actually get all of those details in, right? Unless you have a really efficient, effective worker. So you set up an automation and make their job a little bit easier. Okay, so this is also even more effective. I'll show you an example of how it can do this. Okay, let's say that you have an activity on the trigger. So whenever a new activity is posted, like my classic favorite example of a site visit, where are you? Okay. So say a person has booked a site visit, right? Save. Now I want to check if this person has, now triggered activity is already received over here as booked site visit because it's the activity that's triggered this automation. If the booking date is defined. Okay, so that means I want to see if the booking date has been set or not, if it contains data. Okay, I'll set condition. So I just merely remove this. If it has data, what I want to then do is merely update this information in the lead itself. Okay, so I can even set up a task for this. So create a task, and I have a site visit task. I don't have a site visit, but I have a home visit. Home visit will have to do for now. So you'll notice that I can say that in the leads location. So I'll say address, one city. Okay, so notice just with me typing at, I can get all the mail merge fields that I can possibly use their values of in the location. So that really helps me out. For those of you not already doing this, please make sure you do. It makes you much faster and efficient while setting up automations. Okay, so you can choose when you want to schedule this, how many hours either after or before. So say I've said it, I want to schedule this 15 minutes. Okay, you can choose a particular date. So say that I had now booking date was something that I already had in my activity, right? If you notice, because that's what I put in my if else. So 15 minutes after the booking date, sorry, excuse me. So I'll just come back to this. Notice in the trigger activity, what I'm checking if the booking date contains data. If yes, then I want to create a task for the booking date itself. So I was creating a home visit task. Booking date. So I want to send it before the booking date, right? And I want to send it, say, let's say 1 hour before the booking date. Okay, because the booking date is already there, so I want to send them a reminder or create a task for them 1 hour before so that they can get a reminder that they have something coming up. Okay, and I'll probably want to mail merge the details about the lead like activity name is confirmed with a site home visit booking date. Okay, notice how it's already there. And you can also send calendar invites either to the organizer or lead owner, just so that they get an email and they're aware that they have this meeting coming up. And I can save. Oops, sorry. And this one, city, and I have state. Okay, I think that should do it. Fine, we'll just throw country in there as well and save. Okay, if yes, I'm creating this. Simultaneously, I want to make sure I notify my sales user also. Go open my this thing again. Notice how I said create a lead link, right? So this automatically creates that for you if you just double click and click on create lead link. Here as well, you can add information about the activity. If they have not, then you want to probably get your sales user to fill in this information, right? So I'll say here's a notification about lead, get a booking date. Oh, we're running out of time pretty fast, so it's already 3:40. Man. I'm sorry guys, I have to cut this one short. So you got the idea here. You'll just basically notify them. Now, I was telling you that this can be helpful in updating lead details is that if you have vital information in your activity that will also be useful in your lead, you'd probably just want to use the update lead card over here. Select which field, so say booking date, right? And I will say I want to mail merge this. So automatically booking date from the activity comes up. Okay, and save. So that automatically updates the lead field also with the booking date for the lead. Similarly, you can update multiple lead fields at a time so that make sure that you get all of that information at once. If it's a new lead, you probably want to get in a lot of details like their contact information, the email ID, all of that. So you send your sales users messages and emails. You can also send an SMS over here. Notice how there was a in messaging you had the send SMS, sorry. So you notify owner by SMS. So that's exactly what you can do. Configure this SMS and save it. Okay. So this option would remember come only if you've installed the connector. So this was one way that you can do it. Other things that we had under, I've already covered lead actions. You saw me using sales execution. One very powerful feature that we have in Lead Square is how you can assign leads automatically. So make sure that, every time you get leads, what you want to do is actually based on a particular rule. If they're from Bangalore, you want to assign them to only the Bangalore users or the Bangalore team, right? So you can either assign them to users, groups, or user properties. Choose what kind of groups that you want to assign them to. And then based on that, the lead assignment automatically happens because you've already set this rule up and then it does this for you. Okay, the same way if you're doing it based on other properties, not only the country, you also want to do it based on a particular priority or, okay, so you want to also do it based on a particular property of the user, saying, if the user is present in this region, since these user properties keep changing. You can choose which user condition that is. So say region, right? Which sales region they're working in. Delhi region, secretariat. And you can define this. So Delhi users, region Delhi. Okay. Make sure you set a default rule option over here so that in case none of these leads get assigned, if they don't match the criteria, it goes to someone who can handle this. Okay, so same way you can set up multiple rules and distribute across different regions. Yeah, you choose conditions also over here. City is Delhi. Okay, so wherever the lead is from a city Delhi, it'll automatically assign based on the user property, which is the region of the person as well, the user as well as Delhi. I hope that makes this clear. So this is one very powerful automation action that a lot of our customers are using. Another few custom actions that we have that are actually very beneficial is something like call LAP, Facebook retargeting, center campaign, and webhook. So I'm pretty sure all of you are familiar with how webhooks work. You basically call an API through the automation, let it do whatever you want for you, and you can do it straight through the automation. Okay, a center campaign feature, it comes up only if you have a telephony agent associated in your account. Now I have a telephony agent, which is why this has come up. Unfortunately, it is not here right now for me to show you. But that's what the center campaign will do. If you have a campaign calling list for your which works for your call center employees, it'll help you do that right through the automation. Facebook retargeting is another app which, if you use Facebook for advertising or for targeting users who have shown interest at some point in your product or business, you can use this app by linking your Facebook list and your Lead Squared list and then retarget these customers straight through the automation. Call app is another feature. For those of you who are already familiar and have attended our previous lab sessions, I'm sure you know what the lab is. Briefly, the lab is a Lead Squared application which lets you write your own custom logic within a Lead Squared itself, and then you can carry out different or multiple features. Use cases that can be solved with this. I'll just quickly take you to the home page. Okay, so if you write your custom logic, you can publish your own application over here and then call that same application within the automation action, okay, with the call lab feature. So when you click on call lab, you can search of the existing labs you have and then just save and use that over here. So notice, let me just go back to the lab. Yeah. So if you want to check out the kind of labs that we have or what labs actually does, you can go on ahead, make sure you have manage labs. If you don't see it on the menu, it's because you have to get this enabled for your account. Okay, just tell us your account number, reach out to our support team, and we can enable this for you. You can explore the lab marketplace, all the different possibilities. There are already custom code written. You can add your own parameters also to these to make them more powerful based on the lead fields you have in your system. One very simple and useful one is formatting the lead name. So that's something that I have implemented over here, is whenever you have leads entering your system, you want to make sure that their names are all in standard formats. Okay, that's basically capitalized first name and last name. So you can do that straight through the lab. Okay, so guys, this was a whole run through of everything that we have in automations. It took up a majority of time. Coming back to my presentation. Okay, Shubhani, do we have any doubts?
Sneha, so we have been taking care of it. Uh, so you can breathe easy. Our specialist here, Arnika, has been taking care of most of the questions. There is one question though, Vivek, we will get back to you regarding the LinkedIn question. But for the time being, the rest of you. Oh, okay. So I've been told that Vivek, all your questions have been answered. Please tell us if anything has been left out. The rest of you also, we are here to answer any questions, and we're hoping that you've been satisfied with those responses. If not, tell us and we'll get back to you. Sneha, some people have been saying hi to you, so that'll be good for you to know. Okay, yeah. So those of you asking to get in touch with someone from Lead Square regarding the tool, I'm on it. I will connect you to someone. Back to you, Sneha.
Okay, guys, I'm glad that you all have been engaged with Shibani and Arnika over here. It's been going well. That was a lot to take in one session. We have a little bit to go, guys. So I hope you all are ready for that. So just now, everything I covered was basically an overall view of what automations can do for you, how you can set up different use cases over there with fields, activities, and how you can customize them, send tasks, notifications to your users, and leads. Okay, so I covered all of the triggers, the conditions, and the actions. There are multiple features that you'll notice. I'll show you some of the examples now that we have implemented in different industries and for our customers. Let me see if I can go. Okay, so one such example is like I already covered, with on a specific date. So if you have, in this case, what I've taken is a policy renewal date, right? So if you have a policy with, I mean, related to every lead in your system, so you want to make sure that you send it before the policy date so that you can update the lead field, probably check if the lead is in that location or not, and then send them to another automation. So a sub automation is like a mini version of an automation which lets you carry out specific processes repeatedly. Okay, so you can carry out multiple automations so that leads don't have to remain in one automation. You can send them out to wherever they're meant to be rather than within one automation and stay stagnant. Okay, so this was one. I've already covered this as to how you can schedule your actions using the wait condition. Another one is copying and pasting. You'll notice how you can, build automations faster with just the help of the copy paste action that I showed you on the canvas as well. Another one is, like I said, you want to retarget people on Facebook. So if it's sale season, like I said, your trigger would probably be a sale date. You send them an email, you wait for 4 hours, see if they've actually engaged with that email or not. If they have not, you want to target them on Facebook, because I'm sure you're already, putting up ads about your sale on Facebook as well, targeting the same people. If they're present there, you can read them here through the same list and then send them an SMS also saying that the date is coming up. All that straight through the automation. If notice how I have another one on the green side, right? If they've if email open click the green path, then if they have done a sales activity, you want to update the lead that they've done this sort of a purchase, and then you want to add them into a list called impulsive shoppers. I'm sorry about that. It might be me also. So when you send them into the list, automatically you can like nurture them when you have the next sale coming up. So it becomes easier that way. Another thing is, this is a little big. So on the status change of a phone call. Okay, so your activity here is your phone call. You're checking if the triggered activity is phone call and the status of the phone call. Now, if the status is missed or taken, if it's missed, you probably want to create a task for the user. You wait for a certain amount of time to actually redo this or carry out the cycle where the call gets transferred again to another available sales user. And once done, you can update the lead field or lead stage itself to saying, call happened, a call not done, a call taken but not interested. Distribute lead, again, this is how I've set up multiple rules, something that I've already showed you in the action over there. So based on my rules, I've created different leads to send them out in different regions, based on which I've assigned them to different users. Then I have laps. Okay, right. So what I was telling you was every time a new lead enters, remember I was saying that you want to make sure that their names are standardized, right? So the way that you can do that is with the lap itself. What I'm doing inside the lap is I'm actually making sure the first name field and the last name field have only one name, and they're both in title case, so that when I'm sending out my emails seem cleaner. So this always helps. Make sure you guys are also running this in your application. It's a small thing, very effective. Okay. Then your webhook, like I was saying, you can store dynamic responses. If you're calling APIs within your automation, you probably want to save responses for some of them and use this response in your email contents, right? So I was saying that's how you can make your emails dynamic with the saving response from your webhook. Now, for those of you sending out many emails, I'm sure you want to see how they're doing. So this actually is possible through the automation itself. We have another kind of a report called the automation email report. Okay. So what it lets you do is actually see the stats of all of your email actions within one automation. So in one automation, you can also see which subject line is performing better. Notice you'll see a small chart. Let me just go to an automation over here. Okay. And see if I have, um, okay. Mm, okay. So notice there's an option called view email report. When I click on view email report, it tells me for which email. It also shows me the subject lines of the emails that have worked and what percent have got, more opens or clicks or which one has bounced even. Okay, so that's something that's really helpful for you. Automation email report. Going back into my presentation. Another kind of automation, right? So something you would have noticed in the beginning itself is I said that when you're choosing an automation, you want to see what kind of an automation you're actually building, right? Over here, so see, I want to change this. There was another kind of automation which was the user automation. User automations are basically to target your users itself. So you can make sure that your users are checking in and out. Okay, this is very effective for people who have a field force team. We also have a Lead Squad mobile app, which a lot of our customers are using very effectively and have set up these automations for them. So the start of a workday or end of a workday, it actually lets you automatically check users in to your application and check users out of the application at a particular time. So I've done that over here. So here are some examples. So at the start of a workday, you can basically see that I'm checking 60 minutes before the workday. I want to remind the person, I want to see if they're already checked in or not. Then I want to notify them. If they're not checked in, I want to notify them that, hey, you should be checking in soon. It's about time. Wait for a certain amount of time and then again check, again notify, and go on. If they still haven't checked in, you want to automatically check them in, so that how this benefits you is actually makes the user ready to take calls and receive emails or carry out different actions based on it. The same way you can set up one for the end of the automation. Now, if you want to also make this effective on mobile, what you would probably do is call a webhook where you're actually sending out mobile notifications. Okay, for those of you who want this, you can reach out to us separately. We have a whole separate webinar on this. We also have a bunch of help articles which will help you set this up. Okay, don't have enough time, unfortunately, to cover it, but you can see that I've set up a webhook over here which sends out a mobile notification. So this will only go to those people who have the Lead Squad mobile app installed, since we send out notifications only through the Lead Squad app. Okay, so that was the user automation. So vaguely, this is everything. I mean, as an overview, not vaguely, I've covered everything pretty much in depth. So this is everything that you can do with automations for your leads and your users and how you can do them out together. Okay, so coming out to more industry specific use cases, we're pretty short on time here. Shibani, I don't know how much time we have and if I can still go on. Okay, so I think this will just take another 5-10 minutes. I hope you all are still interested and I still have you all on board. How are we doing on the audience? Is everyone with us?
Guys, I know some of you have to go, but if you can give us another 5-10 minutes, that'll be great. I know some of you are already asking for the recording and it'll be shared with you. And those, if you want to get in touch, have reached out to me and get for us to get in touch with you, we'll do that as well. Okay, Sneha, we can just quickly go through the industry specific use cases and just so for the audience, so you know that you will get this text. So, even if you miss a point or two, you can always go back and look at the recording and the deck. Okay, also I happened to miss a poll earlier, so I'm going to quickly run that poll and we'll continue with the industry specific use cases straight after that. Don't go anywhere. Okay, here's a poll for you, which is there on your screen right now. How familiar are you with automation? So obviously, for those of you who answered yes in the beginning, that you are using automations, let us know how familiar are you. Are you a beginner? Are you an advanced level user? Are you mid-level, which basically means you can get by and you know a couple of things, but you don't know it entirely. So just let us know, are you a beginner, mid-level, advanced user? I can tell you most of our audience today are all beginners. 20% are mid-levels and about 10% are advanced users. I will give you 10 more seconds. Please tell us how familiar are you with automation. Okay, I'm back and we've crossed 10 seconds. So 67% say I'm a beginner, 21% say mid-level, and 13% say advanced level user.
Very nice, guys. Very nice. So I hope this session has been really helpful for you. For those of you who have said mid-level or advanced, I hope you've learned something too, and I hope it wasn't too redundant for you. Coming down to the industry specific use cases. So I have one use case for each of these industries here. All right. So hopefully all of you all fit into either one of these categories. If not, reach out to us with your use case and we'll get in touch with you. Obviously not during this session. I'm sorry because we have very little time, but bear with me, walk through them, and I'm pretty sure you'll figure out how to implement them in your own business. Okay, so going to the education slide. So if you're an education business, something that you would be very interested in to see how many students have actually visited your fees page, right? So your trigger would actually be an activity, right? Which would be visit the fees page. And if you spend more than 3 minutes in it, you send them an email, check if they've opened the email or not, and then send them an SMS. Again, carry out through the action, something already covered. Make sure to notify your internal user, in this case, which would be an admissions officer. If you're an insurance business, you would obviously like to see somebody who's viewed the quote on your web page, right? If they have viewed the quote, yes, you want to change their stage to opportunity, share some and ask the lead. So in the email itself that you're sending them, ask them to share the KYC documents. We're coming out with more features which will help you actually, save documents in a document format itself with each document as its different type. That'll be really helpful for y'all. You can again change the stage saying, documents received. When the documents are verified, again, update the same status saying that the stage has been verified. If they viewed the quote or if they haven't viewed the quote, you wait for 3 days to send them a discounted quote just to see if they're still interested. Same for loan businesses. It's almost similar where you can change stages multiple times, except here you're checking the trigger if they're meeting eligibility criteria. So you'd probably have a bunch of lead fields in your trigger to, actually filter out those leads who are not meeting eligibility criteria, and then you'd carry out this automation. Okay, so you'd add them to a nurturing list if they don't meet lead criteria so that they can meet it in the future sometime, hopefully. For retail businesses. So this is something about the automation report. Oh, this is something that I didn't get to actually show you in automations is the report. I'll come to that with the new action, which is a new condition, which is the test. Okay, we still have that left, guys, so don't go anywhere. So for real estate businesses, you want to see when a lead is created and they're interested in a 3 BHK villa, like I've put over here, you send them an offer. You can send them an offer on different channels, like I showed you how to do. Again, if they have registered some sort of an activity of a callback which has been requested, you can change the stage, send a task to your agent, or add them to a list. Hospitality businesses. Okay, when a lead enters the requirements into your website, you automatically know what kind of a lead they are. So you can segment this lead and then distribute it to the appropriate sales user who's supposed to get in touch. Okay, the executive makes a big difference in this case, and especially the right executive. If there's a vacancy available, yes, then you book a certain room and get them to convert immediately so that you can have that as a converted lead, or you can send them alternatives that they can possibly take up. Same way for travel businesses. I think I already covered a few travel use cases, which if they're interested in this content, if they visited Goa once, you send them that. Otherwise, you send them other alternatives of places they could go to. Same way over here, you can send them an offer, check if they're interested in that offer. If not, then send them another offer and then change the stage to dormant. Healthcare businesses, if a new patient has made an inquiry, again, follow the same stage change business. You book an appointment for them. We have appointments separately where you can view on the calendar. Calendar is also relatively new in Lead Squared. Make sure you go ahead and use that to view all of your scheduled appointments. Business partners. So business partner, if somebody has downloaded a white paper, again, this is an activity on your website itself. You send them an email, check if they've opened it or not, and then again send them out different emails based on what kind of interaction they've done with your business. Okay, something I didn't get to cover is the compare fields and the split test emails. So I'll just cover split test. For those of you who want to compare fields, is very straightforward. It basically lets you compare data into fields based on which you can carry out the rest of your process. Split test is something very new and exciting. So I'm going to quickly take you through a split test. So this is a split test that I've already run. Okay, what I've done is whenever a lead gets added to a list, I wait for 2 minutes and I'm carrying out some sort of an evaluation on them. So I'm carrying out a manual evaluation and I'm notifying people because I'm split testing an email action. Okay, so I'll split test 2 emails. Here I've got email A and email type B with different subject lines, as you can see. Okay, and I want to see which one is more effective. Okay, so when I go to the reports page of a split test, I'll notice, okay, that I've already gotten a winner here. So here you can see how many people have actually come into this automation, 5. Those are the number of people who have also received this email. In split test, what we basically do is split all the leads coming in with all the emails below, making sure that equal amount of leads receive equal emails. And then based on that, you can see stats as to how many people have opened this or not, and you can choose the winner. So what I've done over here is I've already made A the winner since, the stats of A were better. 66 opened this one and only 50% had opened this one, right? So obviously I want A to be the winner so that any new leads that come in, they automatically only go through the email A. So that was split test, guys. You can also view how the report of this did with the automation email report. I've already covered that, but I'll just try to show you split testing. Okay, so view the automation email report and you'll see the different stats of which one has actually performed better. 2 emails, since I have only 2 emails, and then I can see which one has done better over here. Okay, so that's about it. I think I can wrap up the session very successfully now. I hope all of you all learned a lot from this session. Those of you who had questions, wanted to learn more, get into depth about a feature that I didn't have enough time, please reach out to us, write us emails. We're very responsive and we get back to you very fast. Shibani here will carry on the session. Thanks again for joining in and listening to me, guys. I'm so sorry about my voice. I'm a little sick right now, but I hope you were able to get the most out of the session. Shibani?
Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you, Arnika. And thank you to the audience today. There are a lot of questions, and we have tried to answer as many as we could. Some of you are asking for very specific use cases for automations. I've even been getting emails during the session. So don't worry, I will definitely respond to you with an example of an automation case specific to your business or industry. You can always email me at shivani@leadsquared.com or respond to the webinar mail, and we will get back to you. I am going to end the session now because it's past time, and I know a lot of you have just kept away 1 hour just for the webinar. So thank you so much. Thank you, Arnika. Thank you, Sneha, for a great session. Everyone, have a good weekend. We'll end now. Bye-bye. Take care.